I've like always had side hustles. My channel used to be called We Side Hustle, which is such a throwback, incredibly embarrassing. I moved on from that pretty quickly.
I stagnated in my growth.
Right.
I hit a wave and I rode the wave for quite a long time and rode it too hard. And then I crashed at the end.
So you're ahead of your time.
Photos, and I thought I was ahead of my time. I didn't know it back then, but...
Hiring an editor was like the first thing I did. I was like, do you know what? My skill set is in the marketing side, the business side. It's not in the editing. Okay. I cannot do this quickly.
They are capitalizing on the fact that a lot of these run clubs have new creators.
There's also the timing. Like I started my channel in November 2020. We all remember what was happening at that time.
Wow.
So I know we just met, but for those listening, how would you introduce yourself?
How would I introduce myself? I'm Ben.
It's a good start.
Ben Kaluza live in Ealing. Lived in London for about 4 or 5 years now, originally from Oxfordshire. What about yourself?
Well, my name's Jade. I am also a Londoner, born and raised. I live in Greenwich. And yeah, I'm really excited to dive in today.
We're so excited to be recording this episode from the Adidas London HQ, specifically their showroom.
A special thank you to the Adidas team for their hospitality and for supporting Creators on Creators.
Can you tell me a little bit about the content you create? I mean, I have looked you up, but let's pretend like I haven't.
The content I create now is like creator resources, I would describe it. Maybe similar to what you do, but slightly different. I do more like tools, services. I basically, how I describe it to people is that I go and find products or services that have been made by businesses aimed at creators, evaluate like the value of them, and then I showcase the best things that I think my audience will find the most valuable on my page. So that could be anything in the workflow, from like ideation, like I might find some websites where like they help you with coming up with ideas, or plugins that help you come up with ideas, like, you know, something like vidIQ or some Chrome extensions, and then also like scripting, you know, where can you write scripts, how do you write them, etc. And then editing assets. That's what most people know me for, is just finding like editing assets, free editing assets across the internet. And anything else in between. I come from like a streaming background, but transition to more creative resources, how I describe it.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're more on like the production side for sure than I am. And I hate myself for asking you this question because people ask me this all the time. Do you ever feel like you run out of tools to review?
No, because there's so many new ones at the moment. I transitioned to this niche as the tool market started booming, like last May, when AI tools started booming, creator tools started booming. More just kept coming out. It's slowed down now. There aren't as many new ones, and people have seen the same like tools that do certain things. But that's only just like one part of my content. You know, I can create multiple like formats of different stuff. I can do growth stuff. I can do personality stuff. Do tutorials. You can never run out of tutorials to do. I don't do those as much anymore because I don't want to be a tutorial creator. So I've kind of just like found that I do have quite a lot of like content pillars, you know, like to do different stuff. What about yourself? How does yours differ than what I do?
I feel like mine is heavy on like the marketing strategy side, because that's my background. So I studied marketing. I worked like either in-house or for agencies for about 8 years after I graduated. And I did a lot of like partnership and sponsorship marketing. So pretty much like the other side of what we do is a big part of our job. So like when you're speaking to brands or like speaking to agencies and stuff and getting campaigns off the ground, like I was often in that team. And then I also did a lot of sponsorships with like brands and football teams or like festivals and stuff. It was actually a really fun job. It took me a lot to leave it. It was a really fun job. But because that was my background, that's always been like my area of expertise. So when I started creating in November 2020, I realized that actually there was this huge gap, this huge knowledge gap, and there still is one, between like creators who can produce amazing content and then creators who can earn an income. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I started my YouTube channel in November 2020. Very first video went live. Within like 7 months of that first video, I handed in my notice to a job that I loved and left to go full time. And you know, my content is educational, but it's not like I'm producing some Mr. Beast level content where you would be like, well, yeah, of course she was able to quit her job so quickly. So it begs the question, why was I able to quit my job so quickly? And it was because of like the marketing strategy and the business side that I had experience in from my previous jobs. And I just utilized that to turn it into a business pretty quick. And I kind of thought to myself, that doesn't really seem fair, because there are creators who produce far better quality content than I do, or like just more exciting content that I do, but they're never going to be able to go full time unless they gain the same knowledge and skills that I did. So that's very much what my content is about. So I feel like that's probably the main way in which it differs.
Do you think, I talk about this a lot with my audience, do you think that part of the reason that you got to go full time so quick was because of the niche that you were in and the saturation of it is not too high, and also it's like more easily monetizable? Like every niche has a different level of monetization based off of saturation of other creators and also business interest into that niche. Because I've found myself in a extremely monetizable niche by chance. I'm wondering if you felt the same, and that's why there were lots of opportunities for you to make money, basically.
There was, I think that's definitely a reason. There's also the timing. Like I started my channel in November 2020. We all remember what was happening at that time, which meant there was far more people on YouTube watching YouTubers. There were far more people wanting to learn from YouTubers. So I think it was just kind of like a perfect storm. But I also think there were some things that I did pretty soon in my journey, like creating an email list. I created an ebook like 2 months into my journey. I started to learn how to consult. I was just doing quite a few things like that really, really early on. And those things were the things that allowed me to earn an income pretty quick. So even if I'd had those other things going for me, I still needed to do a few of those things in order for it to really take off. But it's definitely a mixture. There's also like luck in there. There's always a bit of luck, what gets thrown into your journey. But yeah, it's definitely a mixture of the few.
How does your content, like when you started, differ than now?
When I first started, actually, it was still about marketing, but it was more about like e-commerce, because I used to have these e-commerce brands that I ran. I've like always had side hustles. My channel used to be called We Side Hustle, which is such a throwback, incredibly embarrassing. I moved on from that pretty quickly, and I used to just talk about side hustles in general. So it was far more broad. It was like e-commerce, but in addition to e-commerce, it'd be branding, it'd be broader marketing principles. And then I shut those boutiques down because I found the thing that I wanted to do, and that was just taking up too much time. And then I also just kind of listened to what people needed from me and just tailored my content to that. But what about you? Because you said you started streaming, right?
Streaming, yeah. Well, I'd done content before streaming. I started like a fitness Instagram channel. Like
very different niche.
Like that was like 4 or 5 years ago. This is when there was like when fitness influencing was getting, I would say, more mainstream, and it was like all the bros in the gym, like with just their tops off, like the variety of content within the fitness niche there wasn't much variety in it. So I wanted to go at it differently. I was like training for an Ironman, like long distance triathlon. I was just documenting that, doing like funny stuff, video. This is before Reels, so it was just like...
So you're ahead of your time.
Photos. And, I thought I was ahead of my time. I didn't know it back then, but you know, based off of how the fitness landscape has changed now to just being like everybody wants to be a fitness influencer now. Whereas before, I think I felt scared to like do fitness content as my first one, because I don't think people liked fitness influencers back then, because it was more just like,
there were a few scandals, weren't there, around that time?
There was all sorts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's still one now, but I feel like it was having a bit of a PR crisis.
Yes, yeah. Then I did YouTube for a bit, like just doing like personal development, productivity, kind of like what Ali Abdaal does, but just exploring different note-taking apps, you know, not the most exciting thing in the world. And then I joined Twitch, my full-time job. in ad operations, nothing to do with
I
creating
used to
content.
work in ad operations.
Oh God, it's boring.
I hated it.
Wait, what did you do in ad operations?
I mean, this was my
what-
first job.
What type of like ad operations?
I'm going back quite a while. It was for a media advertising company. So I was doing all their display ads.
Oh yeah, so I started.
It was the first job I ever
Were you
had. I
buying
remember
media?
being like, we weren't buying media. We
weren't.
were literally just doing the tech side.
Yeah,
there was
okay.
no creativity. There was no
yeah, that's
thought. It felt
literally
like
what I
IT. We'd get a ticket and I'd have to complete it. And I was like, is this what advertising is? Because I've been sold a dream here. And this isn't what it was.
Yeah.
So I left pretty quick. But sorry to interrupt.
No, that's what I did. I started in display.
Right.
So for a healthcare company, somebody
Right.
would send through the banner. I'll put the banner up on the website through the system,
Yeah.
the back end system. And I moved to Twitch. More exciting was video ads, but not really. I was responsible for putting the video ads at the start of the streams that on like YouTube when you get ads,
Yeah,
right?
like the pre-roll and
Twitch,
stuff,
yeah, pre-roll.
yeah,
Twitch have
yeah.
the same thing, but a lot of it's not programmatic. It's done manually. So they have a team of people that, because it's direct to direct sell,
Of course.
and so there's a big team of people that operate the like manual system in the back end. It's just pure operations. There's no creative involved. No. You're like, oh yeah, maybe I get involved with the copy and the ads and start like suggesting. No. You're just uploading it. Like
It's literally just glorified
with
IT.
the campaign parameters.
Yeah, no
boring.
offense to anyone who works in IT, of course.
But it paid all right, to be fair. Operations as a job is actually not too bad because it's not very saturated. Everyone wants to do social media rather than ad operations. It allowed me to get a job at Twitch, which was my dream job. So, and then I started streaming, playing Warzone, Call of Duty, because basically at Twitch, I could get access to certain systems that would allow me to see how much people were earning. Like I could essentially see dashboards.
That's really cool.
And I started like poking around, like looking at what like big people would earn and also what smaller people would earn. And
Yeah.
sounds really bad, but I'd see what the smaller people earn and be like, wow, they're actually doing all right. These people are earning 50K a year.
Yeah.
And they like average like 50 viewers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on Twitch that's it's reasonable. So I was like, well, I have a PC, like I like gaming, so I just started playing games. I got fortunate, I went viral on TikTok in like 3 weeks. So it like blew my channel up from like basically one viewer, which would just be like my friend or my phone, to then like 70 viewers, like just overnight. Did that for about 8 or 9 months, and then started to just burn out. Like I was making money, and I thought that it was going to like increase, and I would leave my job. Just didn't happen. Like I stagnated in my growth.
Right.
I hit a wave, and I rode the wave for quite a long time and rode it too hard, and then I crashed at the end, like because I was streaming like 30 hours a week on top of my full-time job.
Oh my gosh.
And making content. Like I was streaming on the weekends, like the whole day.
That's
usually, like
wild.
3 till 3 I would stream usually, like just
Oh my
gaming
God.
streamers are kind of different than all other types of creators. They stream for exceptional amounts of time.
Do you not get headaches or
No,
anything?
you just sit there gaming, like, and there's just like people, just constantly coming in, just chatting.
Wild.
Then I started doing like streaming education. I felt more, as I was like stagnating in my growth, I was exploring more on like how to grow. Like I fell more in love with learning how to grow and like looking at why other people were growing and why I wasn't growing more than actually like the entertainment streaming itself. So then I was like, why don't I just start creating content on like helping other streamers,
Yeah.
I worked at Twitch, so I had I was leveraging that as like status.
Nice.
Even though, I didn't tell them to do ad operations, but I was like, I do have some inside access to knowledge that people don't have.
Yeah.
Did a podcast, started a streaming podcast, would never do that again. It was the most time consuming piece
I had
of
a
content.
podcast once as well. I stopped.
Anyone
not
says-
that long ago as well. I only stopped like 3 months ago.
Horrible. People
Do you not like it?
No.
I liked it.
Time.
It just took a lot of time and energy.
That's
yeah.
the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Podcasts are ridiculously hard to grow.
Yeah.
I think everybody thinks that they're like really easy to grow. I think they're really hard to do as a one person. I was doing it as a one man band.
Yeah.
And that would involve me, sourcing the people, the streamers, then filming it. My videos were like between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. We were sitting there just chatting, then editing all of that, doing all this. This was before like all of the long to short AI tools are coming out. And so I was manually scrubbing through a 2.5 hour episode to find clips to post on my thing. That would take me about 6-7 hours on a Saturday.
And they're tough to monetize as well.
Yes, yeah. I found that, because none of the people on my podcast, even though they were kind of big in the streaming world, like nobody really knew who they were. So it just, there's not much leverage there from face value. Stopped doing that, and then I started doing more right, I'm just going to focus on TikTok. Because I'm not going to stream, I'm not going to do long form, I'm just going to do short form videos on streaming tools, like how to stream, like technical side of like OBS, plugins. That I started to do well, even though I didn't really want to do that. I felt it was a bit boring at the start. It was just like how to set up your audio, But then it did really well, because actually you'll find that, I'm sure like content creation has a lot of technical sides to it when it comes to equipment. And people get overwhelmed by software and hardware.
And something what seems so like simple to you is like incredibly complex to someone who's new to it.
I forget that all the time. Now I'm like done it for a while. I'm like, I always say that in my content, like I'm sure you probably the same. I don't like doing the basics stuff now because it seems so basic to me. I feel scared of doing it as like being judged, but like, why are you doing so basic? And then I do basic stuff and it is better than everything else. I find that when I'm trying to explain things, and to this day, it's probably one of my biggest struggles, is I can like slip into like marketing jargon. It's like another language. It's hard to unlearn. I can slip into it, and because I let myself freely speak when I'm talking I don't script anything. Nice.
So I can slip into marketing, jargon. I can go into like a tangent, and then I watch the video back and I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense if you're new to it. And that happens quite often, where I'm like, pull it back.
I would say that like, if you do sort of anything above intermediate, like content, it just doesn't have mass appeal most of the time. Like, and if you do jargon or that, because sometimes I'll do hooks on my videos. I'll make an assumption that someone will know something because it's like not even that advanced, and they're just terrible. Even though it's really valuable, I've just been like, actually, I need to just like say it like for what it is, and just forget any sort of other terms. Like, but I just don't like doing the beginner content. So now I do a mixture. Now I do a mixture of beginner content to get growth and get reach, and then a mixture of intermediate and advanced level content. What I mean by that is just the audience. Like if they're more of a seasoned creator, they'll find this plugin, this little tool, really, really valuable because they know where it goes in their workflow. Whereas a beginner creator will just be like, I don't know what that is or how to use it, and I'm not spending my TikTok video to explain, like dumb it down how you use it. I just need you to like be like, I know how to use it. So I don't try and like really explain what stuff is. I'm just like, this is what it is. Like, this is like what it's for. This is why I think it's valuable. And I'll let people just decide whether they want it or not.
So do you work with brands much? And if you do, like who are your favorite brands to work with?
Brands are like my main revenue stream at the moment. I'm trying to move away from that. I'm trying to be a more business creator, even though I can't be asked.
It's a lot of work.
Ben, you need an email list. Ben, you need a private community. Ben, you need a cohort. Ben, you need
sounds like you're describing me.
I'm just like,
have I told you this stuff?
Leave me alone. I want to just make videos. People just don't understand that, like, I can make videos and still be pretty successful. I don't have to be this business guru creator now.
But I was going to say, like, do you need those things? Like, do you need to do that stuff? Like, if you don't want to do that stuff, do you need to do it?
That's a question I ask myself every day.
I don't think you do. And that's coming from me.
I don't think I do either, but I'm like, I'm trying to find out the things that everyone's telling me to do, which one I actually will like doing, which one will take me the least amount of time, which one will make me the most amount of money.
Okay.
Those are the three things. Obviously, achieving all of those in one thing is pretty rare, but if it doesn't take me much time and I enjoy doing it, but it doesn't make me much money, that's fine. If it makes me lots of money, but it doesn't take much time, but I hate it, that might be also fine. So it's like, I'm trying to figure out, like, because a private community is like...
I've got one, it's a lot of work.
Thank you. Can you shout that louder? Because it pisses me off that... This is the one thing that pisses me off the most, is that people come to me and go, Ben, you should need to run a private community. I'm like, have you ever run a community before? Oh, it's easy. I'm like,
They position it as, it's the same thing that you're doing now. You just whack it on like a private site, but it's not. It is a product, and it needs marketing and managing like a product. And it's a service that you're offering. Like I have a full-time employee who mainly does that, and it still takes a lot of my time. A lot of my time.
Why? What?
And it costs me a lot of money. As well.
Can you describe your community, like how much it is, what you get from it, and why it takes so much time?
So it's called The Collective, and it's basically designed to help creators plug that knowledge gap that I spoke about. So you're creating great content, great. How do you turn that into income? So when you join, there's a few different options. There's like starter, and it goes up to advanced or pro, and you get different things as part of it. But if we take the pro version, you'll get bi-weekly office hours with me, so we'll catch up. There's like over 100 different masterclasses, mini courses, not just from me, but from other people in the industry who can teach things that I can't teach because I don't know everything. And then there's also a private community that like is quite thriving. We do challenges every so often to help you grow. And then you also get like weekly brand partnership opportunities. And there's lots of stuff what goes into it. But because there's so much stuff what goes into it and there's so much content and we try to make sure that content remains fresh, it is just a big time resource and it's a big time suck. And I'm in the community a lot and I'm working on challenges and stuff a lot because I want to be. So therefore it just takes my time every single day and there's no really any way of getting out of that. Also, I have like a thorough marketing push behind it because you will lose members. It takes consistent marketing because it's a monthly rolling membership. Do you know what I mean? And I think people forget that a lot.
You get high churn if you don't manage it.
100%. If you don't manage it properly and you're not, like I've got an app version of it, which is really cool.
What platform?
Uscreen.
Uscreen. Okay.
Yeah. They just got a little shout out there.
I'm actually on a partnership with Uscreen at the moment.
It's insane.
I'm launching a course,
nice.
They're building a new
course platform.
It's like like Gumroad. Like a digital product hosting page for. It's like outside of their traditional membership gated thingy. It's more like upload your videos here. Yeah. Landing page. Here's your link. Yeah. People can just go to it and buy it. Super
like
easy. Like a low effort offering for people to sell like a video series. Basically. Yeah. I like Uscreen though. Good brands. Good people
brands.
As well.
And what they allow you to create is amazing. Like having an app and stuff is amazing. So the platform's great. But yeah, if you want to run it properly and you want it to survive and make you good reoccurring income and make profit every single month, like it's not easy.
That's your main thing though?
No. That's one thing. And then brand partnerships is a big thing. I do a lot of public speaking. That's probably one of my biggest things at the moment. Brand consultancy. And then obviously like AdSense and stuff from YouTube.
What sort of public speaking? How does one get into public speaking?
So first thing to do is to tell people that you're a public speaker, even if you're not yet. That was the first thing I did. You'll be surprised at how much changes when you just refer to yourself as a public speaker. What I do is a lot of events for brands. I will host panels. I'll be on panels. I will host keynotes. I do presentations. I do training sessions. I do workshops. And I started doing that. My first gig was actually with YouTube, which helped because that was obviously a huge brand. Yeah. And I spoke about it a lot, which meant that other brands thought they could trust me. Yeah. Trust is a big thing when you're public speaking because they're literally giving you a microphone. Like you could say whatever and they cannot edit out.
Their reputation is on the line, right?
Their reputation's on the line. They have to trust you. So I kind of shouted about that one gig and then one thing led to another. And now, right now I'm doing one a week at the minute. It's very, very busy. So that's a huge part of my business at the moment.
I want to do more public speaking. I'm just not sure
where to start.
Yes, I'm trying to be on LinkedIn more, trying to like share stuff of me like speaking and that. Yeah.
Well, that's a great place to start.
I don't know what though, like either influencer marketing. I have lots of opinions there, or just like creator economy. Yeah. But I think you're right. I need to just like get in front of the right people. Yeah. Say that I do speaking.
Say that you do it. Do you know the best entryway is to be on a panel?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's so low effort.
It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, because you know your stuff. You literally just sit and talk. It's just the easiest way to get into it. And then you can really demonstrate your value that way. Then you could host the panel. And then next thing you know, you're doing keynotes.
That's what I would like to do. What editing app do you use? Do you edit?
No, I mean, I only edit
What do you mean, no?
if I do short form. Oh, I'm not. This is so funny because we're like polar opposites of this.
Yeah.
Hiring an editor was like the first thing I did. I was like, do you know what? My skill set is in the marketing side, the business side. It's not in the editing.
Okay.
I cannot do this quickly. So I do not edit myself. But when I did, and I still have it, I used DaVinci Resolve. What about you?
So okay, this is not going to be quick for us. When you hired the editor,
Yes.
you did it when, like 3 or 4 years ago, or like,
Years ago, I hired an editor, I think maybe month 6 of me having a YouTube
wow.
channel. I was shortly after I monetized, and I was like, okay, I'm making money now. I'm going to invest it in an editor.
But is that not? Were you making enough money for that not to be too hard a decision, as that was maybe a lot of your money that you were earning, or?
It was actually a pretty easy decision because the channel was making like $2,000 from day one.
Oh, okay.
From like the second it monetized.
Oh, on the AdSense.
Yeah,
Oh,
like almost the
nice.
same amount that I make now. Like it has only gone up
that's
a little
nice.
bit. Yeah,
I
it
would
was really
definitely-
quick. It was great. So I just invested it.
Why? How does it do that well? Because you got a good CPM.
I've got a really good CPM. I think my CPM at the moment is maybe like £22.
Wow, mine's like 7. So,
Is it?
Yep.
That's interesting. I would have thought yours would be higher.
Don't know. Yeah, I think my content is a bit all over the place.
So it's just
It's not-
finding its balance.
It's not marketing professionals. I don't know. It's more beginner create. I'm
Yeah.
fostering a beginner creator audience, and I don't think that is the best audience to sell to because they don't buy anything. They are the most stingiest audience that you can get. Because I was one of those. They don't want to invest
Yeah, fair.
time
fair.
and money into stuff.
Fair. All right, I'm going to ask you the next one
Right,
then.
you go on.
Smartphone or DSLR? I feel like this is the right question for you. I feel like I know the answer though.
DSLR all the
Yeah.
time. Smartphone looks pretty shit. Even though, like, you can use, well, if you have good lighting, that's what I would say. Even though I say people film on their smartphone or their iPhone, or the new iPhone's good, the Samsung S24 or the Google Pixel 9 are all good phones to film on. But I just say if you have good lighting, then you can film on anything. Either go outside if you get natural lighting, or just get one of those like super bright softbox key lights. Then the smartphone can look alright. Because indoors, a smartphone, if it's low light indoors,
Yeah.
you don't have bright lights, it kind of gets a little bit grainy, especially on the front-facing camera, which is awful. I usually just say to people, just turn it around.
Yeah.
You just figure it out how to do it. Like you can, put a mirror there, or you can unmirror it to your laptop as well. So that's generally. I'll only do stories off my phone.
Yeah.
If I do a video for a brand that goes on a story, I might do it off a DSLR because it'll look better. But generally, I'll do my stories off my phone.
I'm like impressed that you do stories like ever on a DSLR and like not always on your phone.
Because if it's like a not in the moment story and it's for a brand, I'm going to have to send it to them. So actually, I'm like, okay, I'll just do it off a better camera, so it's nicer.
That's great. Yeah,
then they'll think that it's nicer. Sometimes I don't like doing the stories for brands off my phone because I just feel it looks so.
It looks quite like raw, but I kind of feel like isn't that the point of stories? That it just kind of looks like you whipped your phone out and you're just chatting.
But then I'm also sending them my really polished video at the same time, and I compare the two, and I'm like, wow, this looks so different. And I'm like,
and that level of production is it's like your value and your brand, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, long form or short? So you're traditionally long, aren't you?
Long.
Right.
I'm still long.
You do short or not?
I do, but I just much prefer long.
Why?
Because I like to talk and I like to provide
talk on short.
context. I need context. It's not enough time. It is enough time. I'm being negative. I can do short. I much prefer doing long. And it's part of the reason is what I mentioned before, that I don't script my videos, I do prompts. So it allows me to kind of speak freely, which means that I feel like my personality comes across a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it also allows me to just explain things in a way that I know my audience really like and find value in. Whereas when it's short, I have to be a lot more concise.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm kind of restricting myself a little bit. So it's kind of like a habitual thing that I have to get used to, but I do just love long form content.
So on the long, talk us through the prompts. Like, how would you go about? You've got an idea for a video, like a concept.
Yeah.
Like, what's the process that you up until recording? Because a lot of people, there's this like, do you script? Do you not script? Do you bullet points? Use a teleprompter? I'm still going in that transition phase at the moment. I've tried both. I like both, but I'm still not sure
which
what's
one
my
you prefer.
optimum. Yeah.
So when I've got the content idea, depending on what it is, I'll either do desktop research. If it's something like I'm doing updates coming to YouTube or something, then there'll be a research section. If it's not, if it's more about like my thoughts on a marketing trend or something, then it's just me sitting down and mapping things out and thinking things through that way. I might do research to find some case studies to like prove what I'm saying, but it has to come from me if it's going to be like, this is my thoughts on what you should do next, otherwise it's just recycling other people's content. So once I've sat down and done that, and it's literally just a Word document where I've literally just got title, like intro, I've got the hook, and then it's just breaking down each point that I'm saying, and it's maybe 3 to 4 bullet points under each, and it will literally be like a few words, like there isn't much there. I usually try and do that prep before, like just before I film, because then it's fresh in my mind. And then I will sit down, I'll film, and then in between either each bullet point or each section, I'll refer to my notes just to make sure I've covered everything. But I very much just let myself freely speak. The only time when that's harder is if it's a heavily researched topic and I have to get it really specific, or if I'm doing like a ad sponsorship where there's specific messaging. But I find not only does it allow me to be a lot more myself, but I actually really think it helps with my credibility quite a bit, because people can tell that I just know what I'm talking about versus me just, because anyone can research stuff. Do you know what I mean? So which one do you feel like do you find it easy to do teleprompter? Because I find that quite challenging.
Learned how to do it better. Just have one from Elgato. They've got a really good teleprompter. But then I started when I restarted doing my YouTube videos, I did a teleprompter, scripted the whole thing. Didn't really like it. I felt robotic. Still, even though I didn't sound too robotic, it just, when I watched back, I could tell that I was reading a teleprompter, because I was like, there's no ums and ahs, there's no just like natural like flow of voice. Okay, I'm just gonna just do like completely free flow, like pick the topic, low effort, and then just go for it. And I was like, and I ended up speaking for like 15 minutes. I was like, oh, that's good. But I was like, too many tangents there, needs better structure. And so then I moved to then more bullet points, like decide the flow, like this is the intro, this is what I'm going to hit in the intro, medium, and then end, and then bullet point those. Started that, find that better. Still going off on too many tangents, and feel like I could probably better plan the bullet points. What I do is just have them on my laptop, and like just like pause, and then just like read them, and then like come back, and then just like do it like that, which I found better. I feel like I've gone to being a bit lazy though, and not doing enough bullet points, and then when I don't do enough bullet points, I riff for too long and I go on a wild tangent. So actually I'm kind of like, why don't you just, okay, you don't have to full script it, but like at least do more bullet points.
Build them out a little bit more.
Actually have enough bullet points so that it's like one bullet point is probably 3 or 4 or 5 sentences, and then the next one and the next one. Sometimes I just find it difficult to stop myself from like, I'm like, oh, that was only like 7 or 8 minutes, and it was like 18 minutes, because I was just like, I get very like passionate in my videos when I'm speaking like, because my content is more like, I've moved towards now inspiration. My YouTube content is very different than my short form. I'm like now like this sort of like inspirational motivation. I put like this piano music in the background.
Love it.
And the people fucking love it. The comment section is like filled with people like going, wow, Ben, you just like, you know, I just feel so inspired. Like,
oh, I love that.
Videos. So I'm just leaning into that by just being really natural. But to your point, I completely agree. When someone speaks free flow without a script, it shows depth of knowledge. Like, which is why I live stream a lot, because people then can see that like, I actually know what I'm talking about. I'm not just somebody that just makes scripted videos and doesn't have any other interest around, like, about what I do. I'm like, no, I'm heavily interested in what I do. Ask me any question, I'll answer it on the spot fairly comfortably.
I completely agree. That like when you do live streams and you purposely do a Q&A section, I literally see it as a credibility booster. It's like, see, I know what I'm talking about.
That's what I say to people when they're like, how do I improve? How do I get better at speaking? I'm just like, just live stream, just like put yourself like on the spot with Q&A. It's like force yourself to have to answer questions and think on the spot and coherently, and your words and sentences usually just flow. Where I speak to some people who've never live streamed, like, oh, I don't know what I'd say, like I don't know what I'd do. You just talk, like just talk about stuff you're interested in.
What's your best kept editing secret or hack?
You can go first for this one if you want.
I mean, I don't edit.
I'm actually joking.
I think this is definitely yours.
Mine is, I really like mine. Mine is like, so when I was part-time and coming home from work, I have the big problem of not wanting to like edit my videos, start, film. It's a long day at work. So I was like, how do I remove that barrier? So I decided to just move towards an editing workflow, which is not film the video and then edit, but record a voiceover of my rough script, put that on my editing timeline, and then I edit over that. And then as I'm editing over that, I then adjust the script to like make it sound and flow better from like, oh no, that sounded good, or that didn't sound good, or actually I said that for 5 seconds, but actually it would be better if I said that for 20 seconds because I need to show a few more things on screen. And then when I would then layer all of the timeline, the only then thing I need to do is film the video, which in my old workflow, that was the hardest part. Just turning on the camera, putting like clothes on, turning on the camera, the lights, the setup. And then I'm like, well, now 90% of it's done. I only have to now do the video, put that on the timeline, and then I just I swap just it out for the voiceover and just rejig the parts where I've changed it.
That is such a good tip.
Yeah.
That is a really good
hack. I preach that to everybody because I didn't really learn it from anywhere, even though that I know it's a thing. I just was like, I think they do it in filming. It's like a rough something. I can't remember what they call it, but it not only makes it easier for me to make videos, it also makes them better because I'm listening to my voiceover like as I'm editing like a lot, and I then I'm filming at the end.
Yeah,
because
very
you
clever.
must have like done a video before and watched it back and gone, oh, didn't say that right. Oh, I wish I had said that and that. But then you kind of like, well, I've done it now. I've got to post it, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good hack. I think people will be loving that one.
What are the biggest challenges that you face right now as a creator? Like what do you think about every day in terms of a problem or a challenge that you're struggling to solve?
Yeah, such a good question. The challenge I'm currently facing, because of course the challenges, they do change. At the moment, I feel like pivoting is too strong of a word. I'm still going to be creating content which is for creators about marketing and business strategy, but the way in which I do it is going to change slightly. So that has been my biggest challenge because it's pushing me out of my comfort zone. I'm like hiring another team to help me do it. So it's costing a lot of money. So there's just a few things at the moment which is making me think it's an exciting feeling, but the challenge is definitely like, okay, how am I going to get this to appear how I want it to look? That's obviously a big challenge for a lot of creators anyway. Like, is the end result going to be what I currently have in my head? And also a bit of a mindset challenge of like reminding myself that I can do it. And like, just because this is different from what I've done before doesn't mean I'm incapable of doing it. I've been doing a very similar format for like 4 years. So I knew this year that I was going to work on something else to like pivot it, but it's so difficult when like...
Wait, what are you pivot? What are you pivoting?
I know, I'm being so elusive. So I'm launching a new series. It's called Behind the Screen. And basically I'm shadowing like huge content creators and like following what they do in one day. So I take people behind the screen of like their biggest, most viral videos. So I've got like a ex-streamer who's now a radio presenter. I've got a YouTuber who specializes in like special effects graphics. And I'm basically just following them around and showing people what actually goes on and what they do in order to be the creator they are. But obviously that's very different to my talking head sitting down videos.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's exciting work.
What's the team
structure?
Yeah, like
well,
hiring?
Fortunately, I have a friend who has a production agency and he does a lot of similar series for that on YouTube already. So he's going to bring his team. We're going to have sound engineer, 2 camera guys and a photographer and me.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to head out and make some content. So that'll be really fun.
Like day in the life, like...
Less day in the life because it's, I guess part of it will be day in the life.
Sorry,
no, maybe a little bit. Part of it will be day in the life, but part of it is also, think of it as a merge between day in the life and podcast. So, you know, when similar to what we're doing, where creators are being interviewed about their journey and how they do what they do and what camera equipment they use, it's a mixture between that and actually seeing it. You know?
Yeah.
That's my biggest challenge. What's yours?
What's mine?
Yeah.
I kind of was crying about it earlier. I don't know. I wake up every day and I don't know what to do most of the time. There's lots to do. It's almost too... It sounds really bad, but I've got too many opportunities in front of me. Like, I mean, it's a nice place to be in. I live my dream life. I have everything that I could ever want. But like every day I'm like, I don't know what direction to go in. I'm being pulled in. Like, I do short form, I do long form, I stream, I have a podcast with somebody, with a couple of other people. And then I'm trying to then like, you know, build different revenue streams, launch an email list, do more on LinkedIn, I'm building a mini series. I want to build more lead magnets, like landing pages, all of this stuff. And I don't want to outsource it because lots of that requires like hard skills, and those are hard skills that I want to learn. Like I want to learn sales copy. Like I want to learn copywriting, sales copy, building landing pages, like marketing and sales. But then I also like editing. So the biggest challenge I face is just not knowing how to spend my time. But that's okay. I don't try and get myself too worked up about the fact that I may be not being super optimal with my time in terms of progress of things that I want to progress in. I know that I'm improving and making progress every day. But I speak to some people, like some mentors and stuff, and they're just like, Ben, just have fun, relax, you know, just keep doing whatever you enjoy. You know, things aren't going to crash and burn tomorrow. I've got plenty of opportunities to I just don't know what I want to do.
I mean, it sounds like you want to do a lot. Like because you create so much content, a lot of the time, like creator businesses, the creator's role is to do the thing that they love, which is often being the creative.
Right? Yeah.
And then everyone else does the marketing or like the sales copy and the funnels and all that kind of stuff. Because it's that old thing of like working on your business, not in your business. And it sounds like you are really unique because you actually want to do a lot of the heavy lifting and the legwork.
I like learning. So if something interests me, then I want to learn about it. I don't want to outsource it to somebody. I don't like asking for help. I will ask for it when I need to, but only if it's being super detrimental to my time and business. If there was something that was like that wasn't that interesting for me to learn, and it was just like a completely unnecessary skill, but I needed somebody to do it, then I would outsource that for sure. But like most of the stuff that I know I now need to focus on is stuff that I actually want to learn, which is part of the problem. And then I'm, you know, also then trying to make videos, and we spoke earlier off camera, like level up my YouTube videos. I've just hired somebody to help me with that, but then she's then now forcing me to
do more work.
She's not forcing me, she's as part of the leveling up of my content, it requires me to do more content for the videos, like B-roll, like more camera shots. I just sit there and just do talking head usually, maybe similar to you. You just turn on the camera and you just speak. Now I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like do B-roll, and you should have seen this long. She sent me like 4 pages of stuff.
Oh my gosh!
But I know that I'm going to be a better creator. Which is kind of why I'm forcing myself to do it, because I will learn how to like level up my videos. I'll transition that back into my short form as well, and I know that like no matter what's happening in the future, that like video creators will be like powerful, extremely valuable. So the better I can get at making videos, my value forever increases. Maybe not so much when like AI tools get better and better and better and it makes it easier to make videos, but I still think I'll have that like creative intuition to like figure out like, this needs to be pieced together like this and this and this. Like it's not just going to be one tap in a video. It's done. But yeah, that was a long answer to
that's
many challenges. So we're going to do the 60-second campaign now. I'm going to read this out and you're going to tell me the master plan.
Okay.
So this is online travel banking. The aim is to encourage your audience to switch to a fee-free overseas current account. Wow, this one is exciting. Highlight ease of traveling without extra charges and drive online awareness of the bank offering this current account. The key message is the fees out of office tagline. Highlight at least one of these features of the current account. Instant alert, receive there's a lot of information on this.
It's okay. Keep going. I'll pick little bits.
Right, these are the features. instant alert, receive transaction alerts, split transactions with friends through the app. Compliance, include messaging that although there are no card usage fees abroad, users should check ATM fees. I'm struggling to read this myself, to be honest. Concept examples. Not on holiday. A split screen video where one side shows someone frustrated by hidden fees while planning a holiday, and the other shows you effortlessly booking with no extra charges while sipping a drink and relaxing. On holiday, film a quick montage of your travel day, showing how you use the no-fee account to pay for everything from coffee to souvenirs while emphasizing the ease of budgeting with instant notifications. Deliverables, we're nearly there. 1 times 30 to 45 second TikTok video posted to both the brand's TikTok account and your channel, plus 6 months of organic usage on brand-owned social channels. Bonus is, what would you charge for this campaign? So do you want a recap of any of that?
I think I'm just going to go based on what you've said. Okay, so first of all, this wouldn't be the right brief for me, but if I was a creator who was the right fit, I would probably do something where I might recruit someone else to help me with this. So 2 people, and I would probably create something that was transition heavy, because it sounds like a lot of the messaging is focusing on the ease of their product.
Yep.
So I would do something where you could get an overhead shot, you can see my phone. Is it like a mobile app thing? It is, right? It's like, because they talk about notifications.
Yeah.
So I would do something where you could see me completing the steps I need to do in order to utilize this service, and then transition to the friend I've recruited and see them getting the money that I've just sent. And then I would do that transition a few times to keep it fast paced and keep it under the time limit. And I would potentially, if I didn't have some big travel plans or I didn't live somewhere exotic, use AI to create a backdrop. You know, you can use there's Dream Screen and stuff where you can do video AI to use a backdrop for each of us so that it looks like we're bouncing between location from New York City to Bora Bora and blah, blah, blah. That's what I would do.
Nice, wow, that was quick.
What was the last one? How much would I charge?
How much would you charge? So if you don't want to say what you would charge, we could do some different examples of... Go for if I've got 100,000 followers on TikTok and they want a video posted on my page with 6 months organic usage, how would you sell to me?
So it's 6 months organic. It's going on the creators page and on the brands page, right? So it's not just UGC.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 months organic isn't bad. It's not paid. 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what their average view is.
Let's say 20 to 30,000.
Okay, something around the 3 to 5K mark.
Yep.
And I would probably decide where I was going based on the current performance of my content. Also how much effort this is going to take. If I've just said I've recruited someone, I'm probably going to want to give them some money. So I'd take that into account as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, are you ready?
I guess.
Ready as you ever be. Okay, mobile network provider. So the aim is to raise awareness of the brand's Run Connected campaign, designed for creators who love running and fitness or an active lifestyle. Show how your phone keeps you connected during your runs, whether it's tracking progress, playing music, or staying in touch. I think this is really well suited for you. You used to be a fitness creator. Content examples, Instagram Reel. Capture your morning run, highlighting how your phone's fitness app tracks your progress and keeps you motivated with your favorite playlist. Or TikTok video, show a day in the life of a runner, emphasizing how your phone helps you stay connected with friends and share your route in real time. Your deliverables are 1 Instagram Reel, 1 TikTok Reel, 30 days paid usage on the brand's social channels, no collaborations with other phone providers 4 weeks before and after you post.
Okay. So it's just an app, a fitness app. In name terms.
Yeah, seems like it.
I would probably start by leveraging all of the running clubs that are existing around London at the moment. They're very popular, very strong community. I wouldn't obviously be able to facilitate. I could facilitate a partnership there, but I would probably do the video, film the video at one of these heavily populated run clubs, and just sort of introduce some sort of community feeling, and probably get somebody to also film me whilst I'm running using the app, and just yeah, it would just be that, really.
Yeah, that'd be great. And it's such like I hate to say trending topic, but it kind of is, run clubs at the
They're
moment.
smart, but I also don't like it, right? So here's my gripe before I go on to the deliverables. They are capitalizing on the fact that a lot of these run clubs have new creators, right? And they are like, oh yeah, just post about the brand. Yeah, make sure you show everyone that you're at like here. Yeah, but why? Because they're selling a product and the back end. Like it's like, oh, here's a competition. You can win a jumper and a t-shirt, but you've got to like post a TikTok video. Okay, so they're getting free promo from all of these people that now want to be influencers, and they're getting free reach and marketing. It's a great strategy. Like, don't get me, and that's why a lot of them have started doing it. That's why Gymshark have started to launch a club. That's why all of it. Oh yeah, because we want to build a community because it's free marketing. Yes, the community.
It is,
they do want to build community as well. I won't take that away, but there is incentive behind building that community, and that's free distribution of videos. Smart. It's a very smart strategy for free marketing.
It is. I'm sure there's people listening who will be like, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to start a run club.
Because you're part of the, because they're then building that community, you now feel part of it. You then, like, in them producing the content, it doesn't feel like...
It doesn't feel like like an ask. Because also a lot of people, you're right, a lot of people there, they were always going to share content from that day anyway. Like that's part of why they're doing it. So you're right. They don't always realise that actually they're benefiting and providing free marketing for the brand.
That's the bit that I'm not too sure of.
Fair. How much would you charge for this? Or maybe whether it's you or maybe your old fitness page, how much would you charge for that?
I'll just ballpark figures that there's quite a few deliverables.
So one Instagram reel, one TikTok reel, plus 30 days of paid usage on the brand's channels, and you can't collaborate with any other competitors 4 weeks before or 4 weeks after.
Okay, sweet, easy. Usually I start with like a base fee for one platform, start at about $5,000. Cross promoting would then be upsold, but they're obviously asking for both. So it wouldn't be just like 5 times 2, it would be 5 plus about 3, so about $7,000 or $8,000. I generally, I think that upselling the cross promotion, if account is similar, to be around 40, somewhere between 30 and 50% of the fee of a single post on one. What was the other one? There was ad
it's
usage.
Basically exclusivity and ad usage.
Ad usage, I would charge. They just want 1 month.
They want 30 days.
1 month ad usage, I would charge.
It'll be on their channel, so it'll be whitelisted probably.
1,500, anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000, depending on who they are, how big they are, whether I think they've got a lot of budget or not. I mean, some brands don't. I think they've got a big budget and they don't. Exclusivity for 4 weeks, or that one's a tricky one.
4 weeks, I guess it's 8 weeks because it's 4 weeks before.
Oh, 8 weeks, or that would be all dependent on my place in the market and whether I'm likely to work with other brands as competitors. So the fitness apps. If I was a fitness influencer, then and I was like very much in demand and I was seeing other brands like this, then that would be a bit more of a concern for me. Potentially I would lose out on deals. How much would I charge? I'd probably charge for like between 3 to 5 grand, maybe, just as on a justification that I could maybe have one deal that comes in that 2 months that I can't take. If I knew that I'm not going to get any deals like this, then I might just drop it lower in case they drop the exclusivity because it's cost them too much. So I kind of just want to be careful that I still get a little bit of money there. So it's a tricky one, exclusivity sometimes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's such a good point. Like I was talking to a creator who's a beauty creator and she really wanted to work with this brand, but they wanted, I think it was 6 months exclusivity. And I was like, you can't, as a beauty creator, you actually can't ever really agree to any exclusivity. That is the only brands that you can work with are beauty brands. Like this will never work. You won't get any more brand deals for 6 months. It doesn't really matter how great that one deal is, unless they're literally offering you hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's very rarely worth the risk. But you're right, with other creators, it's not always the case. So
I just signed a deal with a big brand for exclusivity for 6 months, and it was a
Congratulations.
hard decision. Thank you, because they wanted me to not post with about 2 other apps, one of which I don't care about, one of which is features in my content probably once or twice a month. So
Big decision.
It was a big decision. They're paying a lot. They're paying quite a lot of money.
Right. So it makes sense. It's worth the,
It was like, it was like in the 30s, like for like not a huge amount of deliverables, but it wanted exclusivity. I was like, 6 months is all right. I can live with that. It means then I don't have to stress about earning money for the next 4 or 5 months, because that basically is paying for the next 4 or 5 months. So actually, me not being able to create some organic content in that time, like maybe 5 or 6 pieces, that's okay.
It's fine. It's worth it.
You know, I can, but just like the example you gave, if they were like, they had a bigger list, and I was like, no, like you can't just exclude every single person, every brand on the market, because then I can't create. What am I supposed to create content on? And you're not guaranteeing that you're going to keep using me.
Yeah. Because after that as well.
Was the creator you spoke to, was it just for one video, or was
it was for a month's worth of content. I think maybe there was 4 videos. I think it was like a weekly thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she turned it down in the end, but
It's hard though, like, especially if they're a big brand, big name.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause it's
and
good
you're
for your
just kind of
reputation
starting
as well.
out working with brands, and you have like the scarcity mindset of like, am I going to get another deal?
Yeah.
Like, am I ever going to get a chance to work with them again, you know?
Sure.
I feel like that actually is the perfect segue to talk about money.
Yeah, money talk.
So you just mentioned that you just signed a really big deal.
Yeah.
Was that, or is that your highest paid deal? And if not, like what has been?
It is like on paper, but in terms of like when I break down the deliverables,
right,
not so much, because there's exclusivity in there. There's also ad usage in there. Like it's cross promoting 2 videos. I would say the nicest deals that I get are ones where it's just like cross promotion, link in bio. Like I've done quite a few of those at like between 7 to 9 grand. And that's like, oh my God, like that's just like,
I
make a video in my evening, and they're paying. I've just done one for 9 grand, and it's just a TikTok video, and I actually don't even know what else is. They've got 3 months of ad usage, but it's like, that's okay. All I'm doing is making a video. It took me 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's okay. And I would tell people
it's a good
that
deal.
They're like, when I'm streaming on TikTok, they're live. They're like, "How do you even make money? Do you even make money? Like, get a job." I'm like,
"I do.
Show you my bank if you want. I've got a proper job. Yeah." So it's brand deals are very lucrative. What about yourself?
Highest paid deal. I've had 2 that were roughly the same, around like 30 to 35 ish.
Yeah.
But my my bigger deals come from when they are like multi-channel, and usually they involve me doing something like hosting something, that's where the public speaking comes in. That's like usually where I can often get the biggest deals for sure, when you're merging a few things together. And also like I utilize my email list quite a lot, because that's probably out of all my channels the best channel for conversion by far. So if I get a deal and I can throw that in as an upsell, like that can quite quickly get to a good deal. But the biggest ones I've had are like cross-channel. It will be like my email list, my YouTube channel, and then there'll be some kind of event that I'm taking part in, and that will get me to that number.
I didn't think the email list, that's good, because it's just a directly clickable link that's just easy to like.
And it's your most engaged people already who are on it.
How many people do you have on your email list?
25,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bet you can get a good price for that.
Yeah. And they're really engaged. I clear them out every 6 months for people who don't click on my link. So the open rate's really high. Oh, wow, so it's like a good,
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I'm getting more brands now ask about my YouTube channel, because obviously on my metrics page that brands see, they now see I've got 28,000 subs, not too bad. Average about 5 to 10,000 a video. So okay. They're now like going like YouTube dedicated and YouTube integration. I'm kind of like not ready for that. I'm just like transitioning towards making a different style of video. I don't want now this pressure of like, before I've like honed my own process of making those videos, I want this pressure of now figuring out how to integrate an ad or making a dedicated ad.
Yeah.
Like, how would you approach that if you were me? And also, what would you charge?
Yeah. First thing I'd say is exercise caution with dedicated videos. I very rarely agree to them.
Yeah, I don't like
they are basically an ad, like a 6-minute ad. It is so hard to make that good. and to not annoy your audience with that.
Yeah.
So the only time where I will agree to them at the moment is like if the integration is so seamless that like I was going to do a video on that anyway, and that is so rare.
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, I would avoid that. With integrations, the thing is with your niche, I reckon you're making it slightly harder in your head than it needs to be, because if you're working with the right brand, you'll have, what should happen is a brand comes to you, you look at your content plan and you find the video that it works for. And as long as there's a seamless fit, you'll be totally fine. Don't fall into the trap of creating content based on the brand, because then your content will suffer. So if you look at your content plan, you're like, actually, this is the perfect fit for that. Integrating the sponsored segment is a lot easier than you think, because it already fits. It's already going to be part of the video. And what you just want to do, and this is a big thing, and they'll push back on this, don't put the sponsored section in the first part of the video. So, like normally you'll have like your intro and then the section. A lot of people
do that.
Because that's what they ask for.
Okay.
But what happens is when you do it in the first part of the video, you lose people really quick. Yeah. And then their feedback will be, okay, great, but that's the reason why we want it first, because it's before you lose people. But really, if you do it in the second section, you've retained people, and now the algorithm sees your content more favorably because they're still watching, which means, you still lost some people, but there are far more people who are going to get to the second section than if you put it in the first part of the ad. So if you just follow those like tips, like you'll be totally fine. And then charge. So you've got 28,000, 5,000. I would lead with views, because those are really good views, and look at your retention rate as well. If it's high, lead with that rather than focusing on your audience size, and you'll get more money. So like, I feel like for that, you could be charging maybe two grand.
Yeah, that's what
for an integrated.
But the problem I have is that like that's so much less than my
and
short
it's more
form,
work,
and it's
like
more work.
YouTube,
and I'm like, I don't need that money. Like I could make that money by just like doing an extra video on my short form. So it's like, do I want to let it get in? What I'm trying to do right at the moment is build a list of 4 or 5 brands that are on YouTube that makes sense. So I'm in talks with like one of the music licensing, like asset licensing platforms. Like that's perfect, because like I'm a creator's creator. So and another one is almost like some of the like shot deck film grab inspiration. So I'm trying to like think, okay, what do I actually use like that's actually going to be genuine, and like what is it, like the different categories of like tools or resources that I can then find, okay, pick one. Like that's what I think I really need to do. And then also join their affiliate program, because I know like affiliate like money on YouTube can be pretty good, because you can get the directly clickable links like on short form, and then just have maybe 4 or 5 in my description. I'm like, these are like my these are partners. I know that's what people seek on YouTube more than they do on short form. I've noticed it. They want long-term partnerships with creators to drive traffic, where short form it's just like one video, and it's usually purely awareness done. Whereas your YouTube's integrations, they'll be like conversion based and like consideration based. I think that sounds great. And when you reach out to these brands, because you've got so much credibility already, get those super, super long-term deals. Because I feel like if you're going to work with brands now, and if it's going to be worth it for you, it has to be really efficient. And one of the most efficient ways to do YouTube integrations is to work with the same person. Because then the feedback is minimal, if ever. That's true.
You can batch theirs and you kind of get it signed off in one. It just goes out by itself. And then batch it with your other channels. So it's almost like an upsell, you know?
I think, I want one that pays good integration, but then they have a good affiliate. Because some of them do, where they're like $20, $30 for like a sign-up subscription. I'm like,
and it's reoccurring because of the brands you're going to work with.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Such a great niche to be in for affiliate stuff. And you just earn every month for like years to come.
That's what I've realized. Like, actually, I need to leverage YouTube for the affiliate potential.
For sure.
So if a brand like comes into your inbox, right, and they say, do you find that they suggest what they want, like they're clear, or sometimes they're not? Like if they come to you and say, we want a partnership or dedicated video, integrated video, like what is your like response back? Like what are the steps that you take to then move the conversation forward? I think it definitely varies. I think sometimes brands will come in your inbox and be like, we want to work with your YouTube channel specifically. These are the deliverables we want. Sometimes they even have the campaign messaging straight away. Other brands sometimes are like, hey, we just want to know if you'd be open to working with us. This is because a lot of the stuff that we would do is to do with like tools. If they're a new tool, they'll be like,
here's a sign up link, here's a code, try it out, let us know what you think. I actually prefer the latter, to be honest. I like the more casual approach, especially if it's a tool that I've not used before. I will always spend at least a couple months trying out the tool before we proceed conversations. Yeah. But regardless of the way that they approach, next steps for me, depending on the brand and the ask, might be to have a call. I'm like very careful about calls because they take so much time.
They do.
But if they're if it's a new brand, it's a big brand and it's part of a big campaign and it's long term, then a call makes sense. Yeah. But if it's a bit smaller, then we'll normally bounce back through email. Yeah. So the next step for me would be to figure out what the creative ask is, because I will charge more if like their tool requires me to set up something from scratch, like a website page from scratch. Like that's going to take me a while. So we'll go back and forth on that first of all. I'll propose my fee, and I'm quite specific with the small brands that like I will share the fee sooner rather than later. I'll make sure that they're already aware of like the value that I can offer and what performance would look like and that kind of stuff. So I sell them on the value and then I go straight in with the fee, because otherwise we're just wasting everyone's time. And sometimes brands can be super way off of their fee. Yeah. Like they can literally have like a tenth, not even that, of like what I would normally charge. So the sooner we get that over that hurdle and we realize that we're not a good fit, the better for everyone, you know? I also have a rule that if you're coming to me and you're offering me $200, I'm not going to go negotiate. A lot of the time, when you go back with your fee, they'll then come back and be like, well, let's see what we could do and da-da-da. Because what you've told me is that your budget is low and I no longer want to work with you. I don't think it's a comfortable partnership anymore. Even if we're going to negotiate and I'm going to work some magic and you're going to come up to my fee, I don't even want that, because in my opinion, your budget's too low and I just don't think you should be spending all of that money on me if that's the type of budget that you have. So a lot of brands don't like that. So that's usually what I go back and forth with them on. But yeah, so that's usually my process: sell the value, offer the fee, and then we move from there. What about you?
Yeah, similar to you. My agency negotiate most of my stuff and do the communication, but generally same approach, like try and just communicate my fee ASAP if they're small, because the small brands just take the piss. They have like 200, and I go back and forth. I learned my lesson when I used to be doing my brand deals myself, and was just like, I'll be like 5-6 emails in and they're like, oh, we've got $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's not gonna work.
Mate, I'm $2,000. Like, oh, let's meet in the, let's, okay, can you do 400? I'm like, I've just said I'm $2,000, you're 400.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I spot these brands from a mile away now.
Yeah.
I know exactly how they write their emails. I know exactly usually where they're from, what industry like it is, and I will just be like, no. Yeah. Like bigger brands, again, not like, don't just go directly in with the fee, because it's like, okay. But even I find some of the bigger brands don't have as much budget as I would expect.
It varies quite dramatically, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that also depends on what we said earlier about the niche that brand is in and the people that they have access to. Because unfortunately, there are lots of people that don't know how to price themselves. And if a big brand can like get a pool of creators, and a lot of them are like, they have good followers and good reach, but they're not managed by agency, and they're just like still charging $400 for a reel, and it gets 100,000 views. Yeah. Because I've been on Threads, and a lot of creators on Threads are like opening up about what they charge. And I've seen people with 200,000 followers, they're like, yo, because someone posts like, oh, I charge $5,000, and then they'll be like, yo, I charge like $500, and I'm on the page of 200. I'm like, why are you charging 500? Yes. They're bringing the price down for everybody else, like race to the bottom. And I know brands know this, and they also take advantage of it. Because they're like, oh, we care, we really want somebody that, we don't know, you don't care. You just care about getting as much reach as possible within the creator pool that you've got, so that you can, if you're an agency, you can go back to brand. Yes, we've got 10 creators these here with massive reach. Yeah. And that's a problem for like people like me and you, because then it's like, well, why would we pay that much? Why would we pay premium when we can just get somebody? Yeah. Well, like there's trust, and there's
the credibility thing is such a huge part of
value that can't be measured.
Yeah, the credibility part, and that's like, I have a lot of conversations with creators about like identifying what their value is when it comes to working with the brand, because a lot of the time I think, especially when you're new to the industry, you just see it as purely transactional and you're like, well, I want to earn X amount and then here's the content. But when you get to a point where you can define what the value is that you're offering and use like brand marketing speak, it's a lot easier to get a deal across. So a brand, like to your point, a brand coming back to you and being like, well, why should I pay you $2,000 when I can pay this other person like $500? But you have years of experience, a lot of credibility and a engaged audience, like who really trust your recommendations, because that creator might be getting more reach than yours, but that doesn't mean that their reach is valued the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, conversion isn't the same, right?
Yeah. So like really knowing what that value is, like creators who are just so good at producing really high quality content and it's ad worthy, and every time they work with the brand, they want to pay for usage rights. And I'm like, well, that's your value. Like drive that part, you know?
That's what my videos are like.
I can imagine you get asked for like paid usage rights quite often.
Just get a lot of inbounds. My saying is that like I make videos that look like ads, so then brands pay me to make videos that don't look like ads, because my whole feed looks like ads. So people always question like, this is an ad. I'm like, bro, it's
no, I'm just very good at what I do.
So like everything that I do is done. So my ads actually just look like the same as all my other videos, because brands come onto my page and they know exactly how I would make the video for them, which makes it super appealing. It's like professional looking, you know, I have good audio, good video. So they know that like for brands that also care a lot about how their like ads look and feel like, because actually, you know, there's this narrative that like, oh yeah, raw content, you know, brands like raw now, but there's still a hell of a lot of brands that don't like raw.
No, it's different. Yeah, there's never like one size fits all, isn't it? Because it's the same, you could say the same thing for creators. Like you could say, well, creators at the minute, you're only going to see success if your production value is really high, or you're only going to see success if your content is really raw and authentic. But it's like there are creators in both buckets who are seeing success.
I completely agree, and I hate it when people just talk with such a narrow lens and just go, oh, we're seeing like a real trend now of just raw content taking off, and I'm like, raw content has been doing well for years. You just haven't been watching the creators who are doing raw stuff for years that have been killing it. And now it's just because there's this like, it's just this narrative that's just spiraling, and everyone's just like parroting, like, oh yeah, raw's now doing better. No, it's not. Like, I've been watching raw content for 10 years. It's just, I think my theory is the Mr. Beast audience has grown up to now adults. They are like 20, 25, and now they don't like that sort of content anymore.
Right,
and they've transitioned towards more slower, raw connection content. Yeah. Whereas when they were younger, they just wanted this sort of like entertainment, big personality, big production. And I just think that is what has happened personally, to some extent.
Yeah.
So what is your final message to content creators or anyone looking to become a content creator?
I think my final message is to create content about something that you genuinely love and have a passion for. I feel like the main reason why a lot of creators don't reach their goals is because they quit on their journey. And the number one reason why you're going to quit is because you don't love what you're doing anymore. So if you just focus on the niche or the topic that you genuinely love and you enjoy, it'll be a lot easier for you to stick with it, and it will just make it a lot more likely for you to reach your goals eventually. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same. I just preach to my audience to just find what you're passionate about. I think a lot of people don't know what they're passionate about, so you have to find your passion. I think that's quite easy to find when you just look at what you enjoy doing and or watching, or you know. But I think some people go through a bit of an identity crisis though when you ask them that. I think they genuinely don't know what they're passionate about because they've not spent enough time exploring what actually interests them and stuff. And that's what I say to people. I'm like, look, just go down rabbit holes, like lead with your curiosity, and you'll stumble across something that like you genuinely could spend all day learning about, and it just feels like amazing. Like it's a good sign is when you just found something that never bores you. Yeah. Like I can't remember the last time I was bored. Yeah. Because I just have so much that I know that I can consume myself with, that I enjoy consuming. Yeah. Anything and everything around, you know, my niche, content creation. I love what I do. I love learning about what I do. I'm so grateful that I found that. That's what I try and say to new creators, like just go searching for that, because when you find it, you know, everything else is easy. Yeah, I love that. So do you have any future exciting projects coming up? And also, plug yourself. Where can people find you? Do I have any future exciting projects coming up? I've got lots that I'm just not going to do. Have I got any future exciting projects? I have actually got a future exciting project, to be fair. That's a lie. I am potentially in the works of launching like it's not a private community, it's like a collective, but not in a community sense. It's more like working with another creator to gather some of the biggest short form tech business marketing entrepreneur creators in the world and bring them together in a private group.
Kind of like a what's that word? Mastermind.
It's like a mastermind / collective / community.
Nice.
/ like invite only club.
Yeah.
Basically, like you have to have. There are certain
like metrics or
requirements. We were looking at metrics, either significant. We were looking at either you have you have influence, you have respect, you're an innovator. So like, because somebody could be in the marketing space that actually doesn't have that many followers, but they're actually doing something really cool within that space. We're like, oh, we've got to like take into account that not everybody in the tech space is an influencer, or their content is just next level. So we're just setting some parameters around that and going to start building a group and hopefully then look at commercializing it.
Nice.
My big thing is that I want to disrupt the marketing and influencer industry and take some of that budget that brands are spending on agencies to build these campaigns and give it to creators to build the campaigns, because I think we can do a better job. I think if you have 20 of the biggest tech creators in the room developing a campaign for a short form campaign for a launch for tech product, we'll do a far better job than any agency in the world. Personally. I
want to agree, but I feel like I'm going to offend all my old work friends. So
I just think people are looking for something different, you know? And and I think creators are at the heart of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Difference. I think
creators are definitely changing the landscape of marketing.
And
for
I think people are looking, noticing that and going like, I know there's people pushing narratives of hiring creators in-house, you know, finding a micro influencer and going, hey, you know, do you want to work part-time for us? You create the content, give them a revenue stream so they can maybe quit their actual boring job. Part-time content, part-time, you know, just making in-house brand, because they've proven themselves. Their feed is like their portfolio. It's not hiding from that. You know whether someone's good or not, rather than someone's CV experience.
True.
Yeah, I did like this, that on that brand, and I'm like, okay, well.
Got to take their word for it.
Did you?
I mean, it's not a tangent, but did you go to Cannes this year, to Cannes Lions?
No, I have not been yet invited to Cannes. Maybe next year I'll come with a brand.
Next year's the year. This year, so much of the messaging was about creators. All of it. Last year it was all like AI. All of it this year was creators in marketing. All of the questions that I was asked was, okay, well, how do you think creators are changing the shape of marketing? It was such a huge discussion point that I was like, wow, things are really changing. So that was really exciting. It's
because consumers don't want to buy from brands, they want to buy from creators. So that's like, because they just trust them. I think some brands have still got the trust, but you know, you'd much rather buy from your favorite influencer promoting a brand than directly from that brand, right? So what about yourself? You mentioned the one earlier. Anything else?
No, that is taking up a lot of my time. So mainly that. But yeah, I'm really excited for that to come out. I mean, I'm not sure if it'll be out at the time of you guys listening, but hopefully it will. So you can head to my YouTube channel, Jade Beason, to watch the first episode. Nice. Where can they find you?
Just Ben Kaluza, all socials. Been fortunate enough that I've
you lucky thing.
Secured.
I've got an underscore in my TikTok name.
I locked mine all off like years ago. Didn't know as I was transitioning through different niches. Ben Kaluza was never my name for them, any of them. But I locked
were
all
clever.
Of them off. One day.
Love that.
I'm glad that I did, because I would hate an underscore in my name.
I've got an underscore.
You need to pay for the.
I was actually considering it. I still might one day. Although now they're listening to it, so now if they're listening to this episode, they know they can just really hike that price up.
A lot of money.
God.
You need to know people within the platform basically look at the account.
That's actually a good point, because I do know.
You can claim them. Right, I read some of them. If there's a level of inactivity for so many years,
I think that's on Instagram, isn't it?
They will, they'll give you that.
This one's TikTok, but I'm going to reach out and see if I can.
Notoriously difficult.
If I can get someone to help me.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
So thank you for Creators for having both me and Jade on the podcast.
Make sure you leave us a rating or review on any podcast platform, and if you're watching us, drop us a comment and don't forget to subscribe.
Wow.